We're picking up from part 1 at the point when Boone tries to go back into the house after she's been told she can't, and the officer has told her to sit down. We are less than 5 minutes into the call.
I can get you some water, okay? I want you not on your feet because I don't want you passing out on me.
It does happen sometimes that people pass out or have panic attacks. I can't know for sure, but the officer might be giving this rationale to Boone so she'll sit down and not be ping-ponging through the scene. Boone has demonstrated a failure to fully follow instructions, whether that be due to an inability to appreciate what's required or willful blindness because she wants what she wants and she has to wait. If she's sitting down, it's easier for the officer to keep an eye on her. The officer has to control the scene, preserve evidence, be aware of and document everyone, collect information, ensure the safety of everyone, and more. The officer has a lot to think about and a lot to do.
I need water. Okay, I'll get some for you. 222 Charlie, put you on it.
Boone shakes her head here. She really does appear to be in disbelief over what's happening.
Hey, how are you? Okay, so you don't live here in this house?
No. I live down in Lake Renata Cove down there.
Lake Renata Cove, okay.
Yeah.
So kind of tell me how you came here today, or...
Well, I had been calling...
Come down here, we gotta talk.
I've been calling since...
You've been calling your ex-wife or current wife?
Yes.
Okay.
No, ex-wife. We've
Okay.
been divorced about a year and a half. About 11:30 is when I started calling to find out.
He started calling at 11:30 a.m. Boone stated she was awake but didn't actually get out of the bed until 12:30ish, whatever. At what time was she awake? Why didn't she answer the phone at 11:30? The ex is saying he was calling her, not the other way around. This may or may not turn out to be important. We'll see.
We've been divorced about a year and a half. About 11:30 is when I started calling to find out, because this is supposed to be her day. Her child.
Okay.
She's generally not very good about always doing it. She tends to drink.
They called back and said she was still there, or she came back.
So I was calling to find out if she was going to be getting him or not today.
Now we learn a bit about Boone. She's not reliable, even when it comes to her child. Looks like she has an issue with alcohol.
School.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I started calling like 11:30, called every half hour or so, and then finally got a hold of her at 12:49.
He called more than once. Why didn't Boone answer the phone? There are plenty of innocent explanations for this, but her story is missing information for an important time frame. We can add 12:49 to the timeline. He's not guessing at the time, he's looking at his phone.
Which is when she told me what was going on and if I'd come over here, so I came over.
She called at 12:45.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or 12:49.
12:49.
Got over here, told her she needed to call 911, get somebody over here.
12:49, he talks to her. He heads to the scene, he arrives, and he tells Boone she has to call 911.
And then basically she said she needed to go outside, have a drink and a cigarette.
Boone told the officer she called her ex and that she did it while she was doing CPR. But it was the ex who called her, the ex who told her she had to call 911, and that's after he got there. Who does CPR and does not call 911? And she leaves to go have her smokes and a drink. This is callous. And now we know she had her smoke and her drink a half hour ago. And the whole time the officer has been there, Boone has been pestering for a drink. She wants her smokes. Her focus is what she wants, and she wants it immediately. Let's not forget there is a dead human being in the house. It has become clear that she takes care of her own wants before considering what others need.
I walked back out the house because I didn't really want to
Who called? Did you call or did she call?
Well, I called. She called me back when I was on my way to make sure I was coming over. But,
He didn't want to be inside at the scene, which is smart. Boone called him back to see if he was on his way. There are a few possibilities as to why she did that. One being that once she decides she wants something, she wants it immediately. Remember when she was on the phone to 911? She told them to hurry up. Yet she was the one who delayed making the call and even went out for a drink and a smoke.
But I called her.
Give me 1 second, okay?
Boone is up walking around again every time the officer turns her back. Boone just does what she wants to the extent she thinks she can get away with it. If she is pushing against boundaries in this situation, there's a good chance she pushes people's boundaries in other situations. That she acts sweet and pretends to be compliant doesn't mean she's not pushing those boundaries. Boone wants a drink really bad. It is hot outside. She is stressed. But she has had a drink not long ago. The officer is trying to talk to a witness and has been speaking with him for only about 4 minutes.
But I called her initially.
Do you have water in your car by any chance?
I don't think so.
Nothing?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay, so she called, you get over here.
Well, I called her first.
Okay.
Trying to find out if she's going to get Lucas. That's when she told me everything was going on. I got my stuff together, put the puppy up in his crate. When I was starting to drive over here is when she called me to make sure I was coming, and then I got over here right after
Did you
that.
Go inside and see, and then?
I walked inside the front. I didn't see the little front tile area.
Come on, step this way.
I saw legs.
Where he went within the scene and what he touched is important. If police find a shoe print in the foyer or a fingerprint, confirming that it belongs to the ex will save time and confusion for investigators. They're also going to look to make sure that what he says is consistent with the evidence. At the end of the clip, he says, "I saw legs." So Boone had already taken Torres out of the suitcase.
I didn't really want to be in there around it, so I told her.
Well, just for the sake of the crime scene, I want to know if I were to find your footprint, it would be because you went this far into the house. So did you actually make into the threshold?
I don't think I ever made it to the carpet. I think it was just in that. I've been over here before.
Right. Yeah.
But no, I don't think I stepped past that tile area.
Okay. So
I don't think I touched doorknob. I don't think I touched anything in the kitchen. I don't know if that really matters.
Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty much the gist of what you have. Well, sit tight for us. We're going to make a few phone calls, and then we'll go from there. Do you know if he has any medical issues or?
I don't.
Okay, but you've met him before?
I've met him before, yes. Okay. Yes, they've got a whole fun history.
He confirms here what we learned at the very beginning, that Boone and Torres have a history of relationship problems.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. You guys have been called over here quite a few times.
For the two of them?
Yeah, he's been arrested like I think 5 times for violence against her. So.
Really? Okay, I'm not familiar with. I haven't been here personally. So they have
he's currently on parole because of it. So.
Because of domestic violence with her.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Last time he got whatever it's called, like retrial something or other. He had to go to a domestic violence class.
Okay.
I know he was doing it at a parole officer, stuff like that. But I mean, like every time she'd have him arrested, the next day she was trying to get him bailed out of jail. So I don't know what it is.
Oh, she's getting water from the tap. Probably gonna pass out on us. Okay. Well, listen, please do me a tight.
Oh, no.
I'll make a few phone
not a problem.
calls.
I mean,
where does your kid need to be picked up?
Lakeline Elementary.
How soon, though?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
I don't leave until out.
Let me try and get this going for you because I know you need that.
We learned the fun history is much more serious than mere problems. There's a pattern of IPV, intimate partner violence. This crime is far more damaging and far more dangerous than a lot of people realize. If you are a woman in a relationship where you've experienced violence, you are 3 to 7 times more likely to be killed by your partner than women who have not been subject to such violence. That's bad enough, but it's worse when you consider there's an invisible number within these numbers. That's the number of women killed by their partners when there was no previous history at all of violence. It happens far more than you think. There is a difference between abuse and crime. Abuse can be present without it rising to the level of a criminal offense. Just because the perpetrator didn't act out in a criminal manner, it doesn't mean the victim is safe. When these homicides occur, people are shocked and confused. While it's true that women experience such violence more often than men, and they are more likely to be injured or killed as a result, men are also victims of IPV as well. Male victims are less likely to report, less likely to talk about it, and less likely to recognize the danger they're in. Since it's Mr. Torres who is deceased in this case, let me give you some information on male victims. The risk of homicide is 2 times higher for men who experienced IPV than for those who had not. In addition, men who experience violence are far more likely to die of other causes than men who were not victims. The ex-husband in this case shows through his language, tone, expression, and behavior that he does not understand the danger and does not understand the dynamics. There are a lot of valid reasons why victims stay with abusers, why they return, why they recant, try to get them out of jail, and so on. And none of them is black and white. None of it is simple or easy or uncomplicated. It is much easier to avoid it than to extricate yourself once you're stuck. It would be even better if we as a society prevented it, but we are still far, far from that. Regardless of what went on, man or woman, no one should be abused. And in this case, neither one of them should be subject to abuse. And the fact is that Mr. Torres lost his life, and thus far the evidence shows he died as a result of Ms. Boone's actions.
I'll go ahead and start making the calls. Ma'am, could you go ahead and give me his last name?
Torres.
Spell it for me.
Torres.
And his first name?
George, Jorge. Jorge.
J.
Orge.
His birth date?
2/13/78.
And this is the boyfriend?
Yes.
How long?
3.5 years.
Living together that whole time?
Yes.
Okay. And your last name?
Boone.
Spell it.
Boone.
First name?
Sarah. Sarah.
Birth date?
10/10/77.
So, you've had a second to kind of collect yourself. Tell it to me again. You guys were playing last night, drinking a bottle of wine.
Putting puzzles together, doing artwork.
Doing puzzles, artwork. Okay.
I had a bottle of wine and then decided to play hide and seek.
Mm-hmm.
So
What time was that? Do you remember?
I mean, I know that I was in bed probably by 12:30.
Okay.
She says she was in bed at about 12:30. We're talking after midnight now. How long does she normally sleep? 12:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. That's 12 hours. But she says she was awake before that. I still think she's hiding time in the morning.
Okay.
Well, I went upstairs at least, and I fell asleep.
Okay.
Forgetting that he was
So
in
you
the
guys
suitcase.
were playing the hide and go seek.
Yes.
How do you forget you zipped someone in a suitcase?
And at some point you put him in the suitcase?
No, he got in the suitcase. So he thought it would be funny to be put in the suitcase. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to joke with you and I'll zip you up and make him, squirm a little bit, whatever it is.
There it is. She wanted to make him squirm, or whatever it is. We may never know if he got into that suitcase voluntarily, or how or why he was there. But even if he originally got there through his free will, the point at which he squirms, to use her word, and she makes the decision to not let him out, that's abuse. Remember, even at this call, she's demonstrated she pushes boundaries and puts her wants over others' needs. She wanted to make him squirm. She has a grievance against him. A grievance provides justification in the offender's mind, paving the way to action. She wanted to dish out payback. This is according to her own story. He squirms, and instead of letting him go, she exerts power over him for the very purpose of making him suffer. This is abuse, and by itself is a crime. Her stated intent goes to the mental element of the crime of which she's charged.
But then I fell asleep. I fell asleep.
Where was the suitcase?
Right where it is.
Right down there?
Yes.
You zipped him in there?
Yes.
Thought he would be funny, a little joke?
It was. We both were laughing about it.
Okay.
And then I fell asleep.
Listen to what she skips over, what she's not saying. Gonna make him squirm, then fell asleep. She keeps skipping over the most important parts. She's still hiding time. She keeps focusing on what she thinks is her defense.
Where did you fall asleep at?
Upstairs.
In your bedroom?
Yes.
Okay.
Totally forgetting that he was in the suitcase still.
Okay.
The officer tries a different road in here. Boone is skipping over facts and still isn't saying when this happened. So the officer will ask about location and see how far she gets. Boone went upstairs. She made Mr. Torres squirm, but still didn't let him out when she walked away. Whether he was still alive or not, at the point she walked away, the fact is she walked away and left him there. The problem, as she characterized it, is not that she fell asleep. It's that when he squirmed, she wouldn't let him out. The problem happens again when she leaves him there. People unintentionally fall asleep, but they don't unintentionally zip someone up in a suitcase. Don't unintentionally actively make the victim squirm. Don't unintentionally walk away. The action and the intent is right here. It's right here before she falls asleep. Falling asleep cannot be used as an argument.
And then you came back downstairs?
This morning, or this afternoon, yes, when I got up.
What time?
12:30-ish. I was awake, but I totally forgot that he was in the suitcase. He can tell you there's a lot of things that we have been going through.
She forgot he was in the suitcase is not an argument either. She zipped him up, refused to let him out, and then walked away. Any excuse after that doesn't modify or mitigate those choices she already made and the actions she already took. And now Boone brings up their history. At the beginning of this call, she emphasized everything was fine. Of course, that was the indication that it was not fine. And now she's bringing up their history. Remember what she has said so far about their relationship on this night. It was good between them. They were having fun together. They were playing. They were both laughing about the suitcase. She made him squirm. That is, she had the power, at least at this point. Also notice what she has not said. She has not said or otherwise indicated she was afraid. She has not said he got angry. She has not suggested any other reason for putting him in the suitcase or leaving him there except for joking and making him squirm.
Jobs.
Yeah, he did tell me.
Life, all that good stuff. So I just totally forgot.
So you began to do CPR on him?
Yes. Yes.
About
and
what
gurgled,
time this morning
like
did you start doing that CPR?
No, it was the afternoon. It was afternoon because I was awake, but then I finally decided to come downstairs at like 12:30-ish, whatever it is, and I was like, I forgot he was in the suitcase, and he wasn't moving. Nothing was happening, so I unzipped it, took him out, and started doing CPR on him. Mm-hmm. He was on his way over here. I called you when he got here.
He wasn't moving. Nothing was happening. She describes this as before she unzips the suitcase. He wasn't moving, so I unzipped him. She said she started CPR and her ex was on his way over. If you take what she said at face value, it means that if she did CPR, it wasn't until her ex was on his way over. We know the first phone call with the ex was at 12:49. There was a second phone call when she'd asked if he was on his way. What was she doing between 12:30-ish, whatever it is, and that second phone call with the ex?
I called you when he got here.
Once he got here, you called us?
Yes.
Okay.
And air was coming out and he was gurgling, but I could just tell by looking at him.
But you knew how to do CPR? You were doing that on your own?
Yes.
Okay.
And then the person that was on the phone with me also, I counted with him doing it.
And he's got no medical? He doesn't take any medication?
I don't know. I don't know medical-wise. I know he doesn't take any medications whatsoever.
Okay.
The only thing, like I said, I don't know if alcohol had something to do with it, but we had a bottle of wine.
Okay. All right. I want you to sit back down because I don't want
Can I have one more sip of water, please?
Yeah, go.
Denver, Signal 29, residential, audible, 1303 Island Bay Drive.
I'll do what I can to get you a cup because I don't want you to have to keep doing that.
Maintenance should have a proper to cancel the indication to the front door. Turn to that 1325. The motor unit on the channel.
The cups are right there.
Okay. 44 motor unit.
Sit right here. Don't talk to the ex-husband right now.
I won't. Can I have a cigarette, please?
Ma'am, I can't take anything out of the house.
It's on the back porch.
Nope, all of it. It's secure, okay? I'll try my best to get you what you need, okay? Maybe one of these deputies has a pack from someone, sit down and I'll try and get you what you need, okay?
Just a cup, please.
Okay. I don't want you on your feet.
She called 911 after the ex got there. People might assume that she was doing CPR the whole time she was waiting for her ex to arrive. People would assume that because that would be normal behavior. But we don't actually know if she really did CPR during this time or at all. And we now know that she didn't do anything until her ex was on his way. And before calling 911, she went outside for a smoke and a drink.
You got some water, good, okay.
Can I please just have a cigarette? They're on the back porch.
Not right now. We can't have you go and get anything. Why don't you sit in the shade?
Boone again asks for her cigarettes, despite having been told repeatedly that nothing can be removed from the house.
43 now, check.
Am I able? Someone asked.
1334.
I know you said, wait a minute. My ex-husband buying that cigarette.
We can't let you guys communicate right now.
I know, so I was asking you to ask for one.
You want me to get a cigarette from him and bring it to you?
That's okay.
I could probably do that.
And again, asking for her cigarettes. She does not listen to no. And while officers do their best to take care of people at scenes, they're not waitresses or errand girls with nothing else to do.
It's natural. You're nervous.
I'm
you have your
nervous.
anxiety. You're scared, right?
I don't know how to explain it to you.
It's okay. You don't have to.
I don't know how to. just waiting for whoever, so.
I could tell you this. I'm going to be here just as long as you are. Including my... It's going to be a while. I'm welcoming this breeze right now. It's kind of warm. All right? So just bear with us.
I know.
All right?
If you could, like, give me whatever updates or anything that you know of, that's just how I work, so I know, like, kind of what...
Well, let me look at my computer, see.
She wants information and wants to know what's next. This is normal. It's her remark after that that's so interesting. She's telling him she needs to know, and that's just how I work. She has been showing signs she might be controlling. Add this little thing to the pile.
Hey, Sarah. Did you get enough water?
Yes. Do I have to stand up, though?
No, if you want to stay seated, I don't want you getting lightheaded.
I feel weird.
So remember I said the detectives were going to come out and talk to you and go from there. You know what I'm saying? They're here. They're going to ask you a few questions and then go from there, okay? All right.
All right, Sarah. My name's Chelsea. My partner, Scott. To my understanding, you reside here?
Yes.
Okay. Is it just you,
And George.
Okay.
And I have a 9-year-old. It's 50-50 with Brian, my former husband.
Your former husband. Okay. But you reside here with George, and then your son lives with you, or it's 50-50?
Yeah.
Okay. So from what
Rodriguez
has told me, she explained last night that you guys were drinking a bottle of wine, and around midnight, you decided you guys...
12:30ish, yeah.
Okay. You guys decided to play hide and seek.
Well, we were playing hide and seek, and then...
Was your son home at the time, or...
No.
Okay.
No, he was with my...
Ex.
With Brian.
Okay.
Decided to play... We're just stupid like that. Like,
Sure.
we were putting puzzles together, we were doing artwork. You can see the puzzle that we finished.
This business of the puzzles and artwork is important to her. I'm wondering if maybe he didn't want to do the puzzles and artwork with her, and she was unhappy about that. I don't know that, but there's a reason why this is important. I just don't know what the reason is yet. It's the detective who offers the time frame for hide and seek as 12:30, but Boone begins to correct her, and the detective interrupts with another question. So we still don't get to hear what time Mr. Torres was zipped into that suitcase.
Finished in there, and then the artwork, and then decided to play hide and seek, just being stupid.
Okay.
So he decided to get in the suitcase. So I thought it would be funny to, and he was laughing about it too, to dip him up in there. I go upstairs and fell asleep. So this morning or this afternoon when I actually got up out of the bed, I thought for sure he was downstairs on the laptop because he was being really quiet. But then I came downstairs and I'm like, where is he? Like, and then that's when I found him.
Okay.
She claims he decided to get in the suitcase. He's not here to tell his side of the story. Notice she is still characterizing this as everything being fine and that both of them were laughing. No threat at this point. She zips him inside and again hides time, skips over what happened. Every time she offers falling asleep as an excuse, I'm going to say she chose to keep him confined after he wanted out, and she chose to walk away. I ask for your pardon in advance. Listen to this upstairs, downstairs bit here. She says she went upstairs and fell asleep. She's upstairs when she gets out of bed and says she thinks he's downstairs on the laptop. Then she says, when I came upstairs, and I'm like, where is he? Gasp. And that's when I found him. How many levels are there to this place? How is she upstairs, he's downstairs, yet she goes upstairs to find him? Did she simply misspeak here, or is she hiding more about the morning's events? And we already know she didn't find him. She told the other officer he wasn't moving, nothing was happening. She knew he was in the suitcase, and then she unzipped it. When she says, "I found him," what she's saying is, I figured out something was very wrong, and so I looked.
Okay.
I don't know what happened.
Okay. And then you weren't sure about if you woke up this morning
It was afternoon. I mean, I was
or
awake,
this afternoon.
but I just didn't want to come downstairs. So I just laid in the bed for a little while. And then I eventually came downstairs and was confused about where he was. And then I was like, oh my God, he's in the suitcase still. So I pulled him out and I stretched him out and I started to try to do CPR on him. I called you guys. Well, I called Brian.
Okay.
And then as soon as he got here, which is 30 seconds down the road, I called you guys.
Okay.
And the person on the phone had me do the compressions continually still and count with him until you guys showed up.
Okay. And so as a part of our investigation, we obviously have to go inside the house. We have to look at things. Are you okay with us going in the house and looking at things?
Yes.
Okay. And forensics, so we have to have our forensics crime scene investigators come out. Are you also okay with them coming inside, taking photographs and
whatever you need to do.
Okay.
Can I ask, is George, was he diagnosed with any kind of medical history?
Not that I know of. I don't know. I mean, he doesn't take drugs. I mean, we'll have the occasional bottle of wine here and there, but I don't know,
That was going to be my next question. So you guys don't normally drink? You just drink once in a while, or?
Well, I'm going to say, okay, I guess normal drinking is, we will have, a glass of wine or two, while we're cooking dinner. Sure. Over here, and we'll play a board game with him. I mean, all the games are in there. But, I mean, it's not
a couple of beers a day?
Well, but I don't understand, though, for the little bit that we had, not had anything to even do with it. I don't know if he had a heart attack or a stroke or an aneurysm or what happened to him.
She seems to think, or wants to think, the victim's alcohol intake contributed to his death. Based on even what little we know at this point in the call and from this statement, it's apparent that she blames problems on alcohol and not the actions of human beings. We hear that a lot in court. Addiction is a monster, it's true, but not everything can be blamed on the bottle. You've heard people say he's only violent when he's drunk, but that's not exactly correct. He's violent. Alcohol is a disinhibitor. Blaming the alcohol can lead people to think, if I can just prevent him from drinking, everything will be okay. But it won't be okay unless the underlying issues are also addressed. Focusing on the alcohol instead of the relationship or oneself means things won't be properly addressed. To detectives, she characterizes their drinking as normal. Even without the information received from her ex, Boone herself has already told us repeatedly that she knows alcohol is a problem for both herself and Mr. Torres.
I mean, he's from Philadelphia, and he grew up in Philadelphia, and then he went to Massachusetts, and then from Massachusetts he came down here. So I don't really know, a whole lot of, medical history or anything.
How long have you guys been together?
Almost 4 years, 3.5 years.
You guys been living here the whole time?
Yes.
Okay. And the suitcase is still in there?
Yep.
Is it normally stored down there? Did you guys travel recently?
No, he was going to start putting some of donations in there. So that's why,
That's why it's out?
Yes.
Okay. You guys didn't recently travel somewhere or anything like that?
After you zipped them up, did you move the bag around and mess with them at all, or you just zipped it up and walked away?
I both were laughing about it, but I went upstairs and I fell asleep.
Okay.
The detective asks a good question here, whether or not Boone moved the bag. She does not answer the question, but instead raises the volume and pitch of her voice and says they were both laughing about it, but I went upstairs and I fell asleep. He wasn't laughing. She chose to keep him confined. She left him there. Her refusal to answer the question and her immediate repetition of her defense makes me think now that she did move him while he was in the suitcase.
Okay. But what position was he in when he went in? Was he sitting on his rear end and his head up and he just kind of bent over?
Okay, so like this is the suitcase. Like this was his head and then his knees right here and his feet were down.
So he was laying on his side?
Yes.
Yes. You just closed the flap and zipped it around?
Yes.
Him. Okay.
I believe we were playing.
Understandably, okay.
So he said that I needed to tell you guys about his family. Like, who do I talk to about that?
We're gonna do that once we walk through and see. Yeah, we're
not
gonna.
going anywhere. We're gonna be here for a while.
I'm just telling you, like,
this is gonna be a while.
I'm afraid for my life. I want you to know that. I am afraid for my life. His family have never liked me. I'm the blue-eyed white devil, is what they call me. So they've never liked me. They've never taken me in. They've never accepted me. I'll put it that way.
Have you called any of them?
We talked to his daughters yesterday.
No, I mean, like, about this. Does anyone know? Okay. So no one's gonna know until we will be making that notification. So
they're going to kill me.
Okay.
Do they live local?
Yes, they're down the road. They're going to kill me. His kids are going to kill me in Philadelphia. They're going to kill me. This was not intentional.
Okay.
And they're not going to understand that. They're not going to accept it.
We're gonna do a thorough investigation, and we will definitely make sure that you don't feel scared when we leave here. Okay.
When we leave. 9-year-old.
Well, he's at school. He's with your husband.
I know. Well,
ex-husband.
Your husband said that, or your ex-husband said he made arrangements for your 9-year-old to be picked up.
Oh, okay, his mom, probably. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we're going to go inside if that's okay.
Yes, please, but can you guys just keep me posted?
Of course.
So I know what's going on.
Yes, ma'am.
And don't.
All you have to do is get their attention if you have a question or you need to talk to us. He's standing right there. She'll be right here.
Yeah. Okay, but will you guys tell me, like, so you're telling me, like, you won't call whoever it is without telling me, right?
No.
I mean, I have all their phone numbers.
We're not calling. We're not making phone calls. We're actually going to speak to them in person.
Yeah.
That'll
be later
They're
on.
going to. Okay.
It'll be
You'll know
later.
prior to us making any contact.
I'm not going to be here.
Okay.
They're going to kill me.
Okay.
We'll address all of that, okay, before we leave. Okay?
This was.
Okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Just stay seated, okay, Sarah? I know you're panicking, okay? Just relax. We'll come and talk to you. We'll keep checking on you.
Asking about notifications of family is a normal and common question. Usually the person asking is concerned about the family, wondering who should break the news and how to do it right because it's so awful. Normally the concern is for how the loss will impact the family, how the family members will suffer. Even if you don't like your in-laws, you still can't help but have some compassion for a thing like this. We hear no compassion at all here. We do hear worry. I'm not suggesting there is or is not reason to worry. I'm pointing out that the first and only concern Boone has is for herself. That the family never accepted her does not by itself mean much in terms of who's right or wrong there. For now, it's a bit of information to note. Also, now that Boone has expressed this fear, the police now have a responsibility to do what they can to keep her safe. The interesting thing is that she thinks the family will believe she intentionally killed Mr. Torres. Now, why might the family think that? In the next clip, police go into the house and are there for only a couple of seconds when Boone asks that they be called back out.
They're coming out now. I'll get you somebody, okay? She wants to say something. She wants to talk. I'm on. Yeah.
We're
You don't
here,
know
so
anything though, like why or how?
So we will not know the answer to that because we're not doctors. So what's going to happen is he's going to go to the medical examiner's office and he'll have what's called an autopsy.
Yeah.
That'll be first thing tomorrow morning. I'll know a lot, hopefully a lot more tomorrow morning. as far as him, but I cannot, there's no way I could say how, why.
So just by looking at him, like, why is he purple?
Oh, that's normal when someone passes away. Lividity, you turn.
As soon as the heart stops beating, the blood starts to settle to the lowest points of the body, and then it becomes very pronounced. So that's just called a public bleed. It happens every night.
I'm like really scared. I want you guys to know that.
Look around. You have all these deputies here, so while we're here, nothing's going to happen to you. Before we go and make any notifications, you'll have plenty of time to leave or do what you need to do. Whatever you need to do. Okay? And we can talk about that more in length. But yeah, it's not going to be a surprise.
Real quick, and then,
but like, I don't, like, this was totally like not intentional. Like, that's what I'm scared about too. Like,
we'll have all the
Boone says she's scared, but it seems she's not referring to the family here. She's asking about cause of death. Boone reiterates the death was not intentional and lets them know she's afraid of the consequences here. I think she's telling the truth about feeling scared. I think she's telling the truth about her intention in one sense. That is, that she didn't put him into the suitcase with the intention of killing him. She did, however, zip him into that suitcase with the intent to harm him. And on top of that, she intentionally walked away, leaving him there. She also delayed calling 911 and either didn't do CPR or abandoned it. It may have been too late by that point, but that just means that her earlier intentional actions had already caused his death. She did suggest earlier in the call that maybe he suffocated, which shows she is aware that could be a consequence of being confined in a suitcase. And knowing that, she intentionally left him there, intending to cause harm at least, and with reckless disregard of his life. And she did it for power and revenge. In spite of this, she is standing there asking detectives for reassurance.
All the answers, we'll have a lot more answers tomorrow after medical examiner looks at it. Like she said, what you're seeing here is common. This is us coming out to the scene. Yeah, his age, no real medical history that we know of. For him to have passed away, we come out and we do an investigation. Yeah. We come out and do an investigation. Medical examiner's office will be sending people out. This is what we do. If he was 75 years old and had a history of heart condition, we wouldn't be here.
I just don't know what I don't know what it is.
Exactly. And that's what we're here to find out. We're just here to get the answers. The answers that you want, the answers that his family's going to want.
I just really want to see my son. Like, I really need to see my son. Well, I mean, I know I can't go anywhere, but...
No. Right. Yeah.
So, do I just, like, sit out here and wait for you guys?
If you would, yes, please.
Is anybody else having to show up, or everybody's here that needs to be here?
My team's here that needs to be here. The medical examiners will show up when we call them, but we're not ready for them yet. So they're going to take him, they're going to take some photos, take him, but that's towards the end of it. And they'll be called well in advance when we're ready for them, but we're not ready for them at this point. So we won't be calling them quite yet. Okay? So like I said, I got to go do some paperwork. They're going to chat with some people, and then we're going to come back and talk to you if you're okay with that.
Yes, please.
So just give us a little bit more time. Like I said, I need to go and do that, and he's going to go do what he needs to do.
But do you guys tell his family, like, today or after tomorrow?
We have to.
It's the law.
We have to go and make contact with the family.
Yeah.
They have to be notified.
Once our investigation is pretty much complete here, once we leave here, we will be going to...
But again, you'll know. We're not going to just go and do it without you knowing. You'll know. We'll talk to you prior to doing anything like that.
But how, I mean, I understand what you guys and how you do it, and, you know, so, but, like, what do you just tell him? What do you tell his parents? Like, what's the reason?
He passed away.
We tell them what we know at that point.
Yeah.
We tell them the truth.
And that we're going to be waiting for the autopsy results, and I will be at the autopsy in the morning. and hopefully the doctor will be able to give me some of what they think and see.
We'll give them their number. They can contact them and get it from them.
But yeah, they're gonna know what we're here, what we're investigating, and that they're
gonna think I killed him.
Why would they think that?
They always have said that. They've always have said that.
Again, she says his family is going to think I killed him. When the detective asks the obvious question, why would they think that? Her answer is something else. They always have said that. Oh, really? Now, why's that? We're looking at an iceberg here.
I told you it's because I'm the blue-eyed white dragon. That's what they call me. Because they don't want him with me. So he's basically just not really been around his family because he chooses me over them. Even after I've encouraged him numerous times to go over there and see his family.
Uh-oh. Huge red flag here. The victim was isolated by the accused. Of course, Boone says, she encouraged him to see his family. But if you've seen DV or IPV cases, you've seen this before too. It's clear there's a history of violence both ways here. I am not discounting what Boone has experienced. Abuse is never okay for either one of them. In light of what she just said, I'm now wondering who the primary aggressor really was. Let's talk generally about isolation for a minute. That's when a victim is cut off from family or friends or activities that occur outside the control of the abuser. And control is what this is about. This generally doesn't happen all at once, and it's usually not obvious to the victim what's happening because it seems reasonable. It goes something like this. Do we have to have your family here? Can it be just us? Then, look, we're so busy. Can't you just see your brother another time? Or, that friend of yours is a bad influence on you. You get the idea. But these things occur more frequently and add up and erode outside relationships until the main source of input, influence, and getting needs met is the abuser. And voila, the abuser has control before the victim even catches on. And now the victim has no supports and no one close by to point out to them what's happening. But if someone does point it out, the abuser will act all innocent. Oh no, that's his or her choice. As a matter of fact, I've encouraged her or him to see family and friends more often. I can't count how many times I've heard these same words as Boone is speaking right here, and in the same tone. And listen to her pause when she says it. Look at her body language. She lifts her shoulders and puts her hands up like, hey, don't argue. It's not my fault. I'm sorry. I know people want to see her in a certain way, but I can't pretend I don't see what I'm seeing here. That's it for this one. Thank you for listening.